What's a lazy habit you swear by that actually works? Story 1. If I'm procrastinating on a task, I often set a timer and tell myself I will work on it until the timer rings. I'm usually finished or close enough, motivated enough to continue until completion. Story 2. Lightweight cordless stick vacuum is a game changer. Grab and just quickly hit a room without being too thorough while you're waiting for water to boil or whatever. My house is much cleaner with a bunch of frequent sloppy half-assed vacuuming here and there than when I'd put off lugging out the big vacuum to do a proper job. Story 3. Get the same pair of socks multiple times. No time party too hard to pair them up. Just grab 2 of them out of the drawer. Story 4. Passive cleaning changed my life. Every time I leave a room in the house, e.g., move from the kitchen to the bedroom, I try to grab at least 1 or 2 things that need to be put away anyway. Doing little bits through the day adds up. I try to always think one less thing I have to do later. Story 5. Do chores in a comfy way. If you need to sit on the floor while folding laundry, do it. If you want to sit on a chair while washing dishes, do it. That little extra makes the task so much less daunting. Answer. Yes, this. I bought a Costco kitchen step stool to sit on when I was weak and had cancer because I wanted to do something useful like cook dinner. I couldn't stand 10 minutes at a time, and sitting down helped a great deal. Sometimes when I'm rolling out mini meatballs or other such cooking chores, I'll get a big pan and sit in my recliner chair and do it. Story 6. Sometimes, if you don't answer emails right away, they figure out their questions on their own, so you don't have to do anything. Story 7. That it's actually a lot easier to do things properly first time than deal with ongoing difficulties caused by cutting corners. Answer. This is why Reddit's obsession with DIY drives me up the wall. I remember when I bought my house and was asking for recommendations on my local sub for contractors and handymen for this and that, and like over half the comments were just DIY it or links to YouTube tutorials. No thanks. I'd rather pay someone to have it done right than face the consequences of a sloppy haphazard DIY attempt. Hell, half the work I wanted done on the house was to repair the last owner's sloppy haphazard DIY attempts. Story 8. I exercise in bed in the morning before I get up. Lots of stretches, leg lifts in different directions, swirl arms to make the letters of the alphabet, etc. I have arthritis, and this helps warm up my muscles. Also, bridges help keep my leg muscles active. Story 9. If a new task comes down from above at work and seems absolutely insane, put it off for a few hours or a day, because very often whoever relayed it had the wrong end of the stick, and you'll get a clarification a little later that you don't really need to do that. Answer. Definitely. I've run into this a lot. Someone will task me to reach out to X department urgently about Y issue, and I take about a 15-minute while or 1 HR pause depending on the issue, and usually the same person will tell me never mind, it was worked out, it was fine. Also keeps a lot of domino reaction chaos from happening over something that was fine, and I save a chain of people from pausing what they were doing for nothing. Story 10. Parenting. And by that, I don't mean ignoring or neglecting them, but teaching them to do things for themselves rather than doing things for them. Story 11. 1. Everything gets a basket. I have laundry baskets for clothes that have been worn once or twice, but aren't quite dirty enough to put in the washer, but aren't clean enough to hang up. I have another basket for clothes that do need to be put away, but I can't get around to it just yet. There are to-go baskets for toys, baskets for miscellaneous items, baskets for crafts or art pieces in progress, etc. Everything gets a home that can be tidied within 5 seconds. Incidentally, everything is always tidy without much effort. 2. Not sure if this is quite lazy, but I deep clean one thing a day in addition to a quick, daily tidy. For example, I scrub the bathrooms once a week, so dirt and grime just never build up. Usually I schedule a weekly clean of everything, so that detailed cleanings take 20 minutes at most. Story 12. Seeing how problems play out. Most of the time things don't need my input, so I stay out of the way, let things unfold and adjust if necessary. Story 13. Playing video games for around 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, in the morning before doing anything productive. Just drink some coffee, play some games. When I don't do it, I struggle to get my brain juices flowing. It seems very lazy, but helps me kickstart my day. Story 14. I have a rolling garment rack I bought at Target for like 10. I roll that out to the living room to hang up my laundry while I watch TV, and then roll it into the bedroom to put it away, and then back into the laundry room when I'm done. I also use hanging bins for anything that doesn't actually need a hanger. Yoga pants, athletic tops, socks, underwear, tights, etc. We have a huge walk-in closet, so we don't use a dresser. I do not have the will to hang up anything more than is required, so I make laundry as easy as possible. Otherwise, I avoid it until I have a mountain of laundry to do. Story 15. Don't give 100 to a new job. Your boss will think 100 is normal, and when you start to slip, it looks like you're getting worse. If you start lazy, your boss will tell you if you need to shape up. Then you can actually apply yourself, or they might be absolutely fine with your slack since you're training and delighted you're improving. Answer. I dislike that this is true. We have metrics at work. I do data entry. We have to do a minimum of 40 entries per hour. I was doing 45 per hour my first year. I thought I'd get a raise since I was exceeding the metrics. They said since I had only started exceeding them 3 months into the fiscal year, took time to practice and get the hotkeys down, and not for the whole year, they couldn't give me a better raise. So the next year I made sure to do 45 per hour for the entire year. That year they said I'm doing good, but they think I could do better. And if I really get my numbers up, I'd get a better raise. So the following year I got really good at my job. I learned even more hotkeys from the shortcut sheet and introduced a few I learned on my own. I got diagnosed with ADHD and got on medication. I took fewer breaks and really focused on the work. That year, I averaged 80 entries per hour with 0 drop in quality. My quality was higher than most of my coworkers. That year, the difference in raises between me and my coworker, who was averaging 45 entries per hour, was 10 hour. So I said fudge it and dropped back down to 45 per hour. That year, I got less of a raise than the first year I did 45 per hour because they knew I could be doing more. So yeah, never give 100. Story 16. Do all the housework stoned. It's less of a chore, and boy do you get into some fine details. When you sober up, your house is clean. Answer. I knew a girl with OCD who would buy a few bumps of coke. Just enough, but no more. She had an arrangement with her dealer for just this. And blitz her house from top to bottom while listening to music at full blast. It worked out cheaper than hiring a cleaner, apparently, and she enjoyed the me time. Mileage may vary, but it worked for her. Story 17. My lazy habit is brushing my teeth to keep from snacking. I had a bad habit of late night snacking, so I started brushing my teeth earlier in the evening. That made me stop snacking because I don't want to have to brush twice. Story 18. I reuse a lot of cookware during the day. Pan used for toasting bread in the morning? I'll just keep it there and use it throughout the day for other curries, ramen, etc. Story 19. I call it the Forrest Gump trick. I tell myself, I am going to fold one towel, and when I do, I say, I folded one towel, I might as well do another one since I'm here. And I repeat that over and over then, before I know it. All of the towels are folded. I have ADHD and it's hard for me to start tasks. Once I start it, I'm good. My brain, folding 15 towels? That will take forever. Ugh. My brain, folding one towel? Easy. One of the reasons why people with ADHD have difficulty starting tasks is because of difficulties with planning. organization, and time management. Folding one towel makes it easier for me to comprehend time management and organization. I also do this at the gym. I hope I am making sense. Answer: I'm very much a one thing, one step at a time kind of girl. I also get overwhelmed at the total sum of what needs to get done. Start with one thing, and it usually moves on to the next. Example with laundry. I put my clothes on the bed, and then say just bring out the hangers, then hang one item or just hang the shirts, etc. Then I move on to the folding. I don't pressure myself to put everything away, just open a drawer and move forward. I also remind myself that not everything needs to get done in order to feel completion. I also do this at the gym. Just 5 minutes on the treadmill easily turns into 30, or just one set often leads to 23, and so on. Story 20. Buy a second similar item if you can. It will come handy if you lose it or cannot find the same later. I bought the same pair of shoes twice. 2 years later, I'm glad I did. Answer: I found a pair of slip-on dress shoes that I liked. Good for the office, good for travel before I got pre-check, and comfortable. So when the first pair wore out, I bought 2 more. Started the second pair just before COVID and WFH, so they got a lot less use. Recently the leather was starting to crack, so I just started the final pair. That specific model is no longer made, so it'll be a sad day when I have to replace these. Story 21. I have typed list of most of the groceries we buy in order of the aisles they are found in at our favorite store. Each week I circle what we need and add anything else we might need. People have made fun of it, but I spent about 30 minutes creating it 16 years ago. Maybe once every couple of years I'll add subtract an item or two. I think I'm a genius. Also made it easy when husband started doing most of the shopping. Story 22. If you have kids, as soon as they can walk, have them fetch things for you and teach them to throw away their diapers and little bits of trash. You have to get up less often, and they love doing tasks. It builds their self-esteem. It's a win-win. If you don't have kids, but are around kids, this will also work with them too, even older kids. They love to help. Story 23. Don't rewind your VHS tapes after watching them. Rewind before watching. This way, the timer on the VCR counts down the remaining time. I may be a few months late with this tip. Story 24. Here's hack that sounds industrious, but actually lets me be more lazy over time. Take 5 to 10 minutes at the end of the day to reset the house. 5 to 10 minutes every day keeps things from getting out of hand and reduces the need to do a big cleaning session nearly as often. It's been such a game changer for me and my husband and kids. We do it together as a sweet family ritual. Story 25. For small items that you're constantly misplacing and are constantly searching around for, just buy a lot of them and put them everywhere you might think to look. In my house, you can find chapsticks and nail clippers in every drawer and a phone charger in every room. Story 26. You don't have to do the whole chore to get it done. For example, if I want to clean the bathroom, I can just wipe the sink one day for 5 minutes, then go back another day and scrub the toilet, so on and so forth. Breaking chores up into sections has made my house a lot cleaner, for less effort and more motivation to actually clean, instead of letting it all get grimy and nasty until I muster up the strength to spend an hour on the task. Another lazy habit is get a slow cooker. Throw in frozen veggies chicken eggs before work or when going to sleep, and you can wake up come home to a whole meal. While you do other tasks, rest at your leisure. It's helped keep me from going out spending money on fast food when I'm too tired to cook, get veggies in me, and eat a more balanced diet with leftovers as well. Also the classic, don't put it down, put it away, saves a lot of piles from happening. Story 27. Soaking dishes in the sink. Now, I'm not talking days here, but I'll put a coffee cup in around breakfast, top it off with water, plate or bowl from lunch, silverware goes in coffee cup. Cook dinner, put pans in sink with water if they're cool enough. Rest and digest, watch a show, then wash all the dishes. This only works so well because it's a small household and mostly just my and my partner's dishes, but never had to scrub silverware, and pans are a breeze. I freely admit this becomes way too much if you have kids, but that was my other lazy habit. Don't make kids. That's projecting. For me, being able to retire 10 years early, which, by definition, is less work. Answer: dude, my mom just visited Hughes for a few weeks, and the amount of water my house used skyrocketed. I dislike washing multiple times a day. It wastes water, soap, and means I have to grab fresh each time. Stop taking my cup away, and yes, I know there is a plate in the washing, but we are also about to eat in 10 minutes. Wash it when everything is dirty, not now. Story 28. Every time we have to perform a new household maintenance task, I take the time to make a cup of tea. Yes, I'm English. First. It takes me out of the blind panic and stops me overthinking. My other half thinks I'm trying to procrastinate. Story 29. Hear me out. Clean the kitchen before cooking or baking. I do not keep the kitchen immaculate throughout the day. That's the lazy part. But when I am ready to make a meal or do some baking, I clean the counters, fill the basin with fresh, hot, soapy water, line up my ingredients and tools, and it's a million times easier to keep up with the new mess I am making. Takes just a few minutes and reduces the visual and physical clutter that interrupts my cooking or baking flow. Story 30. Half-assed is infinitely better than no-assed. Gargle for 30 seconds instead of brushing? Better than not cleaning your teeth at all. Wet your hair in the sink and brush it instead of showering? Better than not cleaning your hair at all. Story 31. Doing just 5 minutes of a dreaded task. Sounds lazy, but it tricks your brain into starting, and once you begin, you keep going. Works for cleaning, studying, workouts, anything. It's the minimum effort, maximum result hack. Story 32. It's okay to have a bunch of pillows in your bed, because then you get regular support, but also back support. It's okay to make yourself comfy while you're sleeping. Story 33. In a car, coasting to a stop rather than continuing to accelerate into a known stop point, red light, stop sign, etc. From as far away as possible gets you 2 to 3 extra days of gas per tank. Answer: more coasting generally makes the ride more comfortable too, and definitely less fuel used. Every time you brake, you're turning fuel into heat. I miss driving a manual for the comfort and power band control. However, it's way more convenient to have an automatic, especially when traffic is really bad. Depending on your local conditions and actual habits, excessive coasting could be reducing throughput per stop light cycle, increasing overall congestion and time on road for multiple vehicles. I'm talking about the people who see a red light 14 miles ahead and do 20 in a 45, holding up traffic behind them. Plus, you're increasing chances of a confrontation from someone who is looking for an excuse to be violent. Story 34. I don't know if it's a habit, but I struggle a lot with joint pain in my lower back, and there are certain household tasks that I struggle getting done sometimes. I've learned to adapt the chores to help myself out. Like when I do the dishes, I have a bar stool I can sit in if my back is in more pain than normal, and it allows me to get them done even when I'm having a flare-up. I had to learn that just because they are chores doesn't mean I have to suffer through them. You're allowed to adapt the thing to be able to get it done. Story 35. I do everything little by little. Need to clean the house? Well, I will take a little time each day to get it done instead of wasting an entire day off. Sure, it takes longer, but I'm just spreading the time over a longer period of time, which drastically reduces my stress. Story 36. The no-zero rule. Don't want to do something or feel like you can't? Do a little. Give new words in the language you learn instead of a while lesson. 10 jumping jacks instead of a workout, and so on. I'm either into it enough to keep going after that or satisfied and did not loosen my inner streak, so it is much easier to continue the next time I need to. Story 37. Using the 2-minute rule but with a lazy twist. If something takes less than 2 minutes, I still don't do it immediately. I just batch a bunch of 2-minute tasks and knock them all out in one go when I feel slightly guilty about procrastinating. It feels lazy because I delay small tasks, but it actually helps me avoid context switching and keeps me focused longer on deep work. Plus, knocking out 10 quick tasks in 20 minutes feels super productive. Story 38. Archiving is 99 waste of time. The problem is to prepare for the one. I bundle all my papers chronologically because I always have a pretty good idea of from when the thing I need is in rough terms. I'll rather use 1 hour to go through 3 months of unorganized stuff than spend time organizing things I'll never need to find again. Story 39. I never pay for parking in my city. Anytime I do get a ticket, it rarely happens, I'm never mad. I just consider it offsetting all the times I parked for free. Story 40. Do what works. I struggle to take trash from my counter to the trash can across the room. It breaks my focus and flow. So instead, I hang a gravely bag on the closest cabinet handle and put the trash in there. Once that's full, I toss that bag. I keep things in what might be considered odd places because of this. Get rid of extras. I have a limited amount of silverware, plates, towels, bed linen, clothes, etc. I run out faster, so I have to wash them. They can't pile up this way. Story 41. I'm not lifting things if I can use a dolly, a trolley, or some other wheeled assistant. I want to save my back. Story 42. I switched to using my fingers to apply makeup foundation instead of brushes to save me the hassle of constantly washing them. Turns out, your fingertips give a perfect airbrush finish. Story 43. Toddler parents. If your toddler has to be dressed for something the next day, don't bother with pajamas. Bathe them at night and put them in clothes you plan on them wearing. One less thing to deal with when you're inevitably running late in the morning. Story 44. Too lazy to drive up and down the aisles of the parking lot to find a spot close to the store? Park way back. Find a spot faster, more room to load and unload, and get your steps in. Seems like it works to me. Story 45. I say to myself, I might as well. When moving through my apartment, doing things that take 2 minutes when I'm in front of it. Story 46. Filling up the sink and letting the dishes soak for around a half hour to loosen up residue. Usually, no hard scrubbing required. Story 47. Put your underwear and socks in a mesh bag before throwing it in the wash. Then once it's done, dump in a drawer and never have to fold again. Story 48. Take a nap in the afternoon for 10 to 20 minutes. It may seem lazy, but it increases productivity, improves memory, and mood. NASA has proven that a short daytime nap increases efficiency by 34. Story 49. I set an alarm for tasks I don't like doing. Example. I dislike reading and replying to emails, so I set an alarm once in the morning which I can finish in 20 minutes. Another alarm for after lunch, which I finish in 5 to 10 minutes. And then another alarm at 4 p.m. to make sure nothing is left behind unread. Story 50. I never make the bed because I don't see the point. Then I found out some scientific study concluded it's healthier not to make the bed because it allows your bed to dry out better during the day. Story 51. Wearing the same work pants 2 days in a row so I don't have to re-loop the belt peeing and brushing my teeth at the same time in the morning. Story 52. If I start any new project or task, I have to see it through to completion. There's no alternative. The solution I came up with is to not start any new projects or tasks. Story 53. At work, when we are introducing a new process or a new way of doing things, I will procrastinate on starting anything. Then when folks have started, I listen to their feedback about how they started, roadblocks they ran into, issues they have encountered, etc. This way, when I get started, I know immediately what to avoid and what not to do. Story 54. Tackling hard problem at work tomorrow. Instead of stressing out immediately, I just say, let tomorrow me figure it out. 910 times I figured out the solutions while driving from work to work the following morning. Or while showering. Story 55. Before I clean my tile shower, I vacuum it while it's still dry before I actually spray anything, so I'm not scooting wet hair around while I scrub. Story 56. My memory huffs jerk, and I tend to manage things on the fly day by day as I see them. Make certain weekly, bi-weekly, annual tasks hard to keep up on consistently. My lazy solution is a liberal use of reminders. I have regularly set reminders to vacuum, wash sheets, water plants, etc., and annual reminders to do maintenance items around the house, plant certain seeds, etc. Story 57. Leaving things out so I don't forget about them. Yes, my counter is very cluttered. That bill will sit there for a week until I get around to paying it. But if I put it away, it will for sure not get paid, so... Story 58. Top sheets are actually good because it makes it so easy to remake your bed in the morning. A quick flick, and you're good, basically. Story 59. I have my groceries delivered by Walmart for the yearly meager fee and have a very cheap maid. Very lazy, but life is too short to clean and grocery shop. The money is worth it, and I don't have a lot of money, single income, but have found the peace it brings me leaves me time for life. Story 60. One of those little grabby claw sticks like are advertised to elderly people to reach things. Turns out anyone can use them. I got one for cleaning up litter and oh my gosh, I use it all the time. Stuff stuck under behind furniture? Grabby claw. Have to do a bunch of repeated bending? Grabby claw. No back pain or pre-syncope. Putting off a chore because I have to touch something gross? Grabby claw. Total game changer. Story 61. I always clean when I am on hold to speak to customer service. It's amazing how clean your house gets on a long phone hold. Story 62. I don't have a TV anywhere except in front of the treadmill. The only way I can watch shows is if I'm on it. Story 63. Laying out tomorrow's clothes the night before. Feels lazy in the moment, but saves decision fatigue and starts the day one smoother. Story 64. I don't know if it's lazy, but if you are working on something for a while and just can't figure it out, ask someone, preferably a friend, at work for help. Chances are, the minute I ping someone else to look at something, I'll find the issue. Story 65. You save a lot of time and money by not giving a fudge what people think of your appearance, home, car, etc. Story 66. At work, I park in the same parking spot every day, even though it is a bit farther away. I never have to think about where my car is parked after a shift. Story 67. I always have found getting dressed really hard and stressful, so I created a uniform for myself that I wear every day. Not literally the same clothes, but a go-to combo that I know I feel good in and looks put together. Saves me time and mental energy. Story 68. Folding towels and washcloths is a waste of time. Get a small basket for the washcloths to keep them separated and just toss it all in. Story 69. Just wash everything on cold with a normal cycle. It works fine, saves time, and you'll never have clothes bleed. Story 70. I do grocery pickup for most of my shopping, but then go in and select my produce and meat. This saves on time in the store and avoids impulse buys. Plus, the store shoppers are terrible at produce and meat choices. Story 71. I no longer clean any dishpan before putting it in the dishwasher. Old caked on food? Don't bother soaking or scrubbing, just put it in the dishwasher. 910. The dishwasher removes everything, even the stuff I thought it wouldn't. And when there's stuff left on, just put it through the dishwasher again with tomorrow's dishes. Story 72. Grocery delivery every week. Unlimited 35-year, right to my door. I have to go in for my Heineken 0.0 since it's considered adult beverage, despite its lack of adult beverage. But that's it. I've saved so much time. Story 73. Exercise habit. If you have access to hills around you to walk up for exercise, try to do them as fast as you can. That way your duration of suffering is shorter and you end up getting a better workout in the end. Why jog for an hour when you can get the same workout by walking up a hill fast in 23 of that time? Fighting gravity is a cheat code. Story 74. Doing the smallest thing. If I need to clean the stovetop and can't face it, so, always, I lift off the pot stands, no idea what they're called, and sit them on the bench. The next time I'm in the kitchen, cleaning the stove happens almost automatically because my brain thinks I'm finishing a task, not trying to start one. Story 75. Turn chores into games. I thought it was silly when first recommended, but beating my own best time to fold laundry does feel oddly good for the serotonin part of my brain. I started doing it with dishes and picking up too. Story 76. When someone gives you a task, don't just jump to it. Spend a few minutes thinking about it. It might look lazy, but you might avoid some pitfalls and see a more efficient way of doing the task. Story 77. I put all my monthly work tasks in an Excel spreadsheet organized by deadline. I don't ever think about what I have to do. I just look at the spreadsheet and do them in the order of deadlines. It takes a huge amount of the feeling and deliberating out of completing tasks. Story 78. Use a mulching lawnmower with a bag attachment to both cut the grass and rake the leaves at the same time during the fall. Apparently, talking an hour to complete 2 tasks rather than spending 6 hours manually raking and bagging the leaves before cutting the grass is considered being lazy. Story 79. Only works if you live alone probably, but get dressed out of the dryer pile of clean clothes. If you don't have to fold or put away laundry, it's barely a chore. Obviously, there are certain fabrics that you can't buy unless you want to give them special treatment, but it's fine for most clothes. If something is wrinkly, throw it back in the dryer with a wet washcloth for 10 minutes. Story 80. Ignoring fashion trends and rotating essential pieces in the same colors. Pants, navy, black, gray, khaki, pinstriped black, pinstriped navy, pinstriped gray, blazers or cardigans, black, gray, cream, navy, teal, eggplant, shirts. Black, gray, cream, navy, teal, eggplant, and a couple of patterned shirts. Small polka dots and tasteful florals work with almost everything. One signature watch, a mix of stud and hoop earrings, and simple chain necklaces that you can change out pendants if you want. Once you have this wardrobe, you'll never have to worry about dressing for work again. Most pieces are interchangeable, and mixing them up means you'll never look the same. Add inexpensive hair accessories, scarves, or belts to have fun with it. I prefer dresses and cardigans because I find them the most comfortable, but I essentially follow the same plan. Story 81. Naps. If feeling a little sluggish or not as sharp, take a 15 to 20-minute nap and your brain will reset. Sometimes I have taken a 4-minute nap and have the same affect. Story 82. You don't have to do a full chore all at once. Like you can clean a few dishes with the water running while you wait for the microwave. If you only have energy to clean half the bathroom, then do that. Some of a job is better than none of a job. Story 83. I started getting my groceries delivered most of the time. It forces me to plan out my meals ahead, and then I'm also not adding as many extra things, like I often do when I shop in the store. Story 84. Start the washer dryer dishwasher, then fold laundry while watching TV, sitting on the bed. Keeps me feeling productive while enjoying my show. Story 85. May sound not lazy, but getting everything done way ahead of time allows me to be lazy as shoot and maintain video game uptime in my 30s. Was told by a mentor that if you want to be lazy, just get everything done and you can be as lazy as you want, and that always stuck with me. Story 86. I have a list on my phone of all the meals I commonly cook, split into categories: soup, pasta, Asian, Mexican, breakfast, salads, sandwiches, American other, etc. Pick a meal each from 5 different categories, and boom, there's meal planning done for the week. Story 87. I spend just 10 minutes a day cleaning and organizing each room, and my house is never a mess. I don't feel like I'm living just to clean. Even if I don't finish everything in those 10 minutes, it's enough, and over time, things naturally fall into place. Story 88. Plan meals the week in advance so we have what we need and don't have to do multiple shops or decide on theater day what we want. Also, don't iron before putting anything away. Only iron it if you have to. Story 89. Always empty the car when you get home, then there is never anything in it. I wish I could get my wife to adopt this practice. Story 90. Hoop all the shirts you need to hang on your arm through the neck hole, then out the bottom. Then just grab the hangers by the hook and pull the shirts onto them from the bottom. Saves so much time. Story 91. Replace the lawn with low-growing native ground cover. Like many of the others in this thread, some initial effort and expense, but then you can bask in no mowing, no watering weekend bliss. Story 92. A habit that I've started to pick up is for laundry, especially if you're a person who separates their laundry into loads and you're like me and laundry creates the most of the mess. Have separate baskets for each load. When you're done wearing something, put it in whatever basket you have for each load, or start one if it's empty. Story 93. I learned this from a thread similar to this a while back. But when you are leaving a room in your house, look for items that belong in the room you're going to first and take them with you. Story 94. Mostly eating the same things for breakfast and lunch every single day. It saves so much time and cognitive effort both during the day and when grocery shopping. I found things that I like, are reasonably healthy, and most importantly, are very easy to make. I make granola and yogurt with berries for breakfast and an egg sandwich on a bagel for lunch. I really don't get bored of it, mainly because I just don't spend time thinking about it. Dinners or weekend meals can be exciting and different. I would just way rather have the extra time and effort back during the weekday. Story 95. Hang your clothes onto a coat rack beside your wardrobe after you take them off if you plan to wear them again before you wash them. That way you keep them separate from clean clothes while seeing them first thing in the morning and remembering to wear them within a couple days before they need washing. Story 96. Laying on the floor with legs up against the wall doesn't feel like self-care, but my nervous system is like, thank you. Story 97. Not really a habit, but an entire large tub of plain Greek yogurt, 2 packs of like sugar-free Jell-O, mix them up, and I've got 3 work lunches in 5 men that are around 130 calories and 25 calories protein. I add whipped cream to it, and it tastes like key lime pie. Story 98. I sleep on a made bed with another blanket. I usually have to move pillows a little bit when I wake up and just fold that one blanket. Story 99. If I can't find the motivation for a task, I will pretend that I am teaching someone else how to do it step by step. Story 100. Sort out your shorts, underwear, socks, pants, sweats, etc. into separate piles right after taking them out of the dryer. Speeds up the process of sorting through and having to fold them. Story 101. I only own 7 underwear. I can't let the laundry pile up because I run out of underwear once a week and refuse to go without clean ones. I run the dishwasher every day, even if it's only half full. I turn it on before bed. By the time the coffee maker is done brewing in the morning, I've got the dishwasher unloaded and ready for dishes all day long. Story 102. Using scissors to cut up bacon. Obviously, I have a set of scissors that gets washed just like regular cutlery after every use that I keep in my silverware drawer. Story 103. Do it badly. It's been a game changer to realize that half-assing things is 1,000 times more effective than psyching myself out with perfectionism. Story 104. Touch everything only once. I can drop the clothes in a pile, or I can go ahead and